I think we want to explain to our viewers what is empire in the Bible.
Mm,
And many people have never heard of this theme or like
right.
wait, this is a thing. And both you and I have dabbled for years in this. In your case,
Mm,
more than dabbled. So I want to I want to explain that just really quickly, and then I know you wanted to add a little bit more about the book of Revelation. So, what is it? So, empire is a falling away of human relationships from God's garden vision, basically, right? And so, we have to
yeah.
start with what is God's vision for human relationship? And let me boil that down to 3 points from Genesis 1 and 2. Number one, shared dominion in Genesis 1, right? Like you will have dominion over the earth. And that is not just Adam and Eve, and it's not just Adam. Like that's really important.
Mm,
Not
yeah.
Adam over Eve, it's shared dominion. Like all their children will share in the dominion of that is spoken of in Genesis 1. Spread the garden from Genesis
Mm,
2. And then the third point is men and women are equal in both Genesis 1 and 2.
yes.
So, when humans fall and corrupt their human nature and then start to warp their relationships, what happens? Well, a few key points. Number one, in Cain's city, Enoch, he names his city after his son because he wants to tie his son to it and basically control his son. That begins the theme of empire, and it's put into the language at first of this city. That continues in Genesis 11, where Nimrod builds a city called Babel, and
Hmm.
he's like, this is the first of many cities, and he controls other people. Egypt is the slavery empire. The Israelites are made to build storage cities for grain and stuff.
Yeah.
Babylon is the debt empire, right? Where Habakkuk complains, you're a predatory lender. Like you make these loans and then you go conquer these people when they don't
Right.
pay you back on time. Then Jesus inaugurates God's kingdom and restores God's garden vision, right? And Matthew 19 is a really good example of that, where Jesus is talking about marriage and he says, from the beginning, right? So he's referring back to what was God's original vision. And then the next story is the rich young ruler story. And the disciples are like, man, this is really challenging. And he said, yeah, but you've done it. You've left everything to follow me and then
Hmm.
share all your resources. And that's the
Right.
regeneration. That's the regenesising of everything.
And so when you demonize the other, of course, that just reinforces I'm team good, and that's the other that's team bad. And Jesus comes into that world and says, I want you to love your enemies. I want you to lay down your life for them. I want husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church. And the question with the Good Samaritan is not, who is my neighbor, but to whom am I a neighbor? Uh,
Right,
and
right.
and that means that I have to transcend the boundaries of they're the other.
It's pretty clear Jesus is not only the new Adam, and he's not only the garden human, right, when he says I'm the vine, but he's saying I want my followers, my people to reflect at least as best you can, like what the garden vision originally was.
Yeah.
And then that brings us to Revelation and your specialty, right? So
Hmm.
we get Revelation 17 and 18. There's a human empire that is like a city, or it's portrayed as a city. And
Right.
Revelation 18 says it's built on slaves and
Yeah.
human lives. Jesus is setting us as his people up with a tension, even a conflict with the empires. He calls us to be loving, good, and truthful, but the empires are power hungry, evil, and lying.